Hey everybody, and welcome to Tech Talk. My name is Anu. Today we're going to get to know a gentleman named Sieva Kozinsky. Sieva happens to be co-founder and CEO of a company called Study Soup. Come join me. Sieva, thanks so much for being here today.
It's good to be here.
So you are co-founder and CEO of a company called Study Soup. Study Soup is a peer-to-peer learning platform for college students. It's a place where college students can earn money buying and selling things like notes and study guides. And it's also a place where students can provide tutoring services to their peers. Now, in 2017, you made the prestigious Forbes 30 Under 30. What I'd like to know about you is, what drives you? Do you wake up in the morning going, this is a problem and it needs to be fixed?
You know, I was never supposed to be an entrepreneur. That was never something that I had ever heard of growing up. Both of my parents are dentists. And entrepreneurship was just not something that was common amongst my friends or family members. I was supposed to be a doctor, then I wanted to be a veterinarian, then I wanted to work for the government, and I went through this circuitous path to being an entrepreneur. I remember I was taking classes in biology, and just for fun, I took an entrepreneurship elective at UC Santa Barbara with a guy named John Greathouse. He was an entrepreneur himself. He built a very successful company that he sold for hundreds of millions of dollars. And I remember on the first day of class, he turned to us and he said, you guys can be your own boss. You can build whatever you want. He said, and you don't have to take orders from anyone.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it was like a light bulb went off in my head. And I said,
Yeah.
wow, that sounds really, really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have to go get a job. I don't have to go get an internship. I can just build whatever I want. And from that point on, everything that I looked at in the world, I could think of solutions. I felt like if there's a problem, if there's an opportunity, all of a sudden I felt empowered to build that solution or to actually create that solution. So that was my entrepreneurship spark. I wasn't like a lot of the entrepreneurs that you hear about when they're selling computers at the age of 9, or they're
Right.
building this or that, or building an eBay store at an early age.
Right.
So that was my entrepreneurship spark, and ever since then, I grabbed hold of education. I've always been really passionate about education. Mm-hmm. And frankly, that's what drives me, right? Is how do I create a better experience for students like myself just a few years ago. And we can do that. And that's what we're doing today with Study Soup.
Sure. Now, the markets are predicting today that investments in EdTech are slated to be like $250 billion globally by the time 2020 rolls around. And you started Study Soup about 4 years ago. Talk about your vision.
When we started Study Soup, we were building products for ourselves, right? To be totally honest, we didn't have this grand vision, right? We didn't say from day one, we're going to change the education landscape. From day one, we were a couple of college students, me and my co-founder, Jeff, who I actually met playing Ultimate Frisbee in college. We said, this is a problem that we have. And at the time, it was totally unrelated to what Study Soup is today. Mm-hmm. At the time, we said, we're tired of carrying our textbooks and reading materials and our laptops everywhere we go. We want to just have everything on our computer everywhere we go. Mm-hmm. So we built this cool browser-based tool where you could annotate, you could highlight. It was really something spectacular at the time. Obviously now, not so much anymore. And we showed it to a couple professors. They loved it. They started using it in their classes. And that was how our path down entrepreneurship and education started. Mm-hmm. And then, through a few different turns, we basically started Study Soup, right? We started this marketplace where students could buy and sell study materials from each other. This is something that I dealt with when I was in school. I wasn't a great note taker. I loved to go to class, mm-hmm. And I would either pay or I would somehow network my way to getting the notes that I needed. So that was the first step, and students really love that. On one side, students can make money helping their classmates. Mm-hmm. On the other side, students like myself who may be bad note takers or who may be struggling in school have another channel to succeed in their classes. And once we started building that and started building momentum across the different campuses in the US, we said, we said, this is a real opportunity. We can help connect students in many different ways. We can help them with peer-to-peer tutoring. We can help them with content. We can help them with new products. And we said to ourselves, okay, we're going to become this academic service platform, almost like this big brother that you can turn to on the internet to get any help that you need to succeed. In school, of course. So that's how we ended up where we are today, right? And obviously the vision today is much, much bigger. And the way we see it is that everybody's going to be a student at some point in their life. And every student needs help in school, and they can turn to StudySoup to get that help. So that's really the vision that we're building towards today.
Sure. But how did you know the right product to build? How did you come up with the idea of the type of product?
Yeah. I wish that, I think we have this vision of the inventor, the lone entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Maybe the Steve Jobs somewhere in India in a temple thinking through the next great idea, the next big breakthrough.
Yeah.
But I think for most of us, and certainly for us at StudySoup, it was a long, bumpy path where we took a lot of left turns and ended up back to where we were. And at the end of the day, just spending time in the education space, spending time learning from our students and hearing what they wanted brought us to where we are today. So for example, we had built this commerce tool where you could upload any content and professors could use it in their class to basically sell the content and students could annotate and highlight it. And we said, great, we're going to sell to universities, we're going to sell to professors, this is going to take off because our teachers love it. And we did that for a couple of years. That proved to be a very difficult business actually to build. And we were young, we were first-time entrepreneurs, we didn't understand why. We thought to ourselves, this is a perfect solution, why isn't the market taking it? And that's where we learned, product market fit, which is kind of your question. Then we started hearing from our students, hey, can I use your product to sell some study guides to my classmates? They're always asking me for my notes. I'm a great note taker. You obviously can sell notes on this platform. Can I do that? So we had a couple people do that behind our back at first. Then eventually we noticed this and we had a conversation, me and Jeff, about, hey, is this something that we could facilitate across different campuses in the US? And sure enough, we gave it a try. We expanded that product line, and it instantly took off. And I guess that's how we knew that we had a product, because all of a sudden, instead of pushing to try to sell this product, people were coming to us in droves.
And then we cut to today, where StudySoup has a community of well over 500,000 students across more than 150 schools. But I want to go back to your days as an early on entrepreneur. Talk about some of your struggles and some of your hard times, because I think it is my personal opinion that people don't really appreciate just how difficult they are.
Yeah, there were a lot of trials and tribulations. Before I get into that, now our community is actually 2 million people a month. So we have 2 million students in the US using our products across close to 500 schools. So it's definitely an exciting time for StudySoup. But the early days were very, very tough. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs gloss over that, right? There's the starting point, which is exciting. You're in your co-founder's attic or you're in a garage, and then all of a sudden you're this big, huge company with millions of users. But the path was a lot less straightforward than that, as I mentioned. So I remember, I think the most painful part for a company, or one of the two most painful parts, was just getting StudySoup to existence, right? We'd spent the last year and a half building this other product, this other company called Studiously, and it was coming along, but the market wasn't accepting it. Some professors were picking it up. And I think between my co-founder and I, it was just very painful to realize this thing that we had built wasn't going to be this huge software that was going to affect students' lives everywhere, right? We're putting in all this work, and we're getting all this pushback from universities, from professors who just aren't jumping on this amazing software that we think we built, right? So students love it, but the people who are buying it are questioning at best about the product. So then we pivoted to StudySoup, and I think that moment was just very, very difficult, where you need to realize you've invested so much time, so much effort into building this thing, into selling it in one way, and now you're going to try this totally new product that you have no idea whether it's going to work or not, but there's just no way, right? And that's kind of the entrepreneurship mentality is there's usually just one path, and it's a series of 0 and 1s, right? It's binary.
Yeah.
Either you're not going to be successful or you're going to be successful. So if you have that grit, if you have that personality, you're just going to push towards the 1, and then eventually you're going to succeed, right? If you have enough at-bats.
Sure. So what advice would you give to budding entrepreneurs out there?
Yeah, so I alluded to it just now.
Yeah.
One piece is just having pure grit and persistence.
Yeah.
Right? There are very few things that will substitute just pure hard work and persistence. And I think at the end of the day, if you just keep going at it, if you keep trying, if you keep taking at bats, statistically speaking, if you're committed, you're going to win. You're going to find your opportunity, because the great thing about being an entrepreneur is that your learning curve is 10 times faster than somebody else, right? So if you join a large company, and say you join as a marketing hire, operations hire, your learning curve may be like this on the graph, right? Over 5 years. If you start a company or you join an early stage company, your learning curve over 2 years can be like this, right? So if you're committed to that mentality, if you're committed to that idea, then you know that even if your company doesn't succeed in the first year, you will be so much further along on your personal learning journey than if you had stayed somewhere else. And at that point, if you start something else, then again, your personal learning journey will grow. So even though there's not financial success out the gate, you can expect personal growth and personal success. And I think if you just keep investing in yourself, you're guaranteed to succeed.
Right.
So that's one thing that I would suggest to entrepreneurs, is just pure focus, pure determination. Just keep pushing, you know?
Yeah.
And the other piece that's been really, really helpful to me, and I'm very fortunate and grateful to have it, is amazing mentors. You know, people in my life that have helped guide my path, that have helped me make decisions. And if you can surround yourself with the right mentors, you can save months or even years of hard work and kind of figuring it out on your own. You know, there's people out there, especially here in Silicon Valley, that have achieved so much, that have done spectacular things for themselves. And just by spending a half an hour or an hour a month with you, they can help you overcome so many of the potential obstacles that you would face as an entrepreneur as well.
Right. That's wonderful. So what are you most excited about over the next 20 years? And where do you see the future of EdTech?
I think it's a really exciting time to be alive in the education space, right? If you're a learner anywhere in the world with internet today, you can access all of the world's content. You can access content from the top universities in the world in products like Coursera or Khan Academy. And then there's products like Twitter, where you can actually individually learn from the top investors, the top politicians. Anything you want, you can learn on that product, because I can tweet at someone like Naval at AngelList, or maybe even a country's president, and he may or she may tweet back at me. And that's just an amazing product, an amazing opportunity to learn from other people. Now, as far as where education is going, I think there's two things that I'm really excited about. One is the technology, and two is the learning methodology. As far as technology goes, there's no question that virtual reality and augmented reality are by far the next most exciting education frontier. They're going to create ways to create personalized learning experiences from small children, from the age of kindergarten, all the way through personalized adult learning as well. And I'm frankly really, really excited for that, and I already see some exciting projects coming from that technology. On the other side is the learning methodology. My question growing up was, how do you create an environment, and it still is today, I guess, how do you create an environment that nurtures students to be problem solvers, that nurtures them to be thinkers, that nurtures them to look at the world around them and create solutions to the opportunities that they see? And I feel like today's education environment doesn't allow for that at all. A lot of it is rote memorization, or focus on maybe even subjects that I no longer think are relevant today, especially with things like Wikipedia or Twitter or YouTube out there. So as far as learning methodologies go, I think the next frontier is project-based learning, either individual schools, boot camps, or schools adopting programs that encourage students to be entrepreneurs, problem solvers in the world. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you for being here.
Of course.
And sharing your wisdom and your knowledge and your experiences with us. And folks, thank you for being here. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.